Hi, everybody. It is Thursday evening. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz. It's snowing outside, right on cue, right? Actually started a little bit early this afternoon across portions of the region with the snow that moved in. It's been light. We did have a little burst over the last hour and a half or so that's now moving out. We're back to the light snow, but we do have some impacts being felt across the region traffic wise, and we're going to end up with a couple inches of snow before it's all said and done. This system becomes much bigger out towards the east. So, this is a special Thursday evening edition of Region Weather Live. We've got lots to talk about. We'll talk how much, what the impacts are going to be from here on out, when it winds down, and we're going to take another look at that nice warm up late next week. The latest model guidance is in. It's better than yesterday if you like warm temperatures. All that in this special edition of Region Weather Live after this short little intro video that we worked so hard putting together. And welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday evening to you. I hope you had a wonderful day today. Obviously, the snow is moving in. It's turning a little bit more wintry outside. We do have some slick travel, especially untreated surfaces, but even treated surfaces, now that our temperatures have dropped, have slickened up. We're seeing some problems on I-65 and then the Boardman between Indianapolis and Klein dealing with some issues right now with a wreck. It's just that little bit. It doesn't take much. We talked about that yesterday, how it really does not take much to cause problems. It's the little amount of snow that causes the most problems. The bigger amounts, there tend to be less traffic accidents. So we'll get to exactly what we have going on here. First, want to thank our sponsors on this bonus edition of Region Weather Live. Tiger Plumbing. If you have any Tiger plumbing needs, you need a Tiger to come in and clean out your toilet, whatever it happens to be. If you've got pipe problems, drippage, whatever it happens to be, Tiger Plumbing, the place to go. That wasn't the route I wanted to go with that, but that's the route we ended up going with that. But tigerplumbing.net's the website. And then Grieger's Auto, obviously, in the Valparaiso area. Great service. We've talked about them so many times, but if you need a Jeep or anything else, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, certainly pay them a visit. All right, lots to get to here this evening. So I want to get to kind of the impacts on this first, because that's usually what we talk about. I do want to say hi to everyone that's joined us so far. Mary, Jeff, hello. Good evening to you, Jason. Hi, Kim. Hi, Portage Streets and Sanitation. Hi, Mark. Warmer temperatures next week. Mark, we're going to talk about it. And Ruth, yeah, she says it's sad that the big storm's missing us. Yeah, East Coast is going to get hit pretty hard from this one, especially upstate New York, as we'll talk about here in a second. Rhonda, thank you. I hope you're having a good evening as well. And Jason's excited for 90s and humidity. And hi, Linda. Thanks for joining us here tonight. All right, so here's what we're dealing with in terms of the Winter Storm Severity Index. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. This shows the impacts being felt by this storm. And you notice there's a couple little yellow areas around us indicating some minor impacts. Not a big deal. We never said the storm was going to be a big deal. It still doesn't look like a big deal. We're going to get slick travel as we have tonight. I think bulk of the impacts are this evening, especially as we get later on the evening, because INDOT tends to kind of lessen up a little bit on the roadways in preparation for that morning rush hour. So I would imagine we slicken up a little bit more tonight on the main thoroughfares. Side roads obviously have some slick spots as well. But then tomorrow morning's rush hour, this snow is going to continue for much of the night. It's going to be steady. There's going to be some on and off periods as well, but it'll be mainly steady tonight. And that's going to add up to our few inches of snow. And again, that morning rush hour, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. I think it'll be a lot like what it is right now, with just kind of some slick surfaces. It also gets colder tomorrow, too, so that doesn't help the road salt. All right. But in terms of impacts, if you have any travel plans eastbound this weekend, the impacts are going to be like Pittsburgh up towards, look at upstate New York. This is in combination with some lake effect. They're going to have some major to extreme impacts expected there. This goes all the way up into northern Maine as well. You notice the main I-95 corridor up and down the eastern seaboards just fine from this. They'll have rain. They'll have a little bit of snow at the end, but the bulk of this is interior New England all the way down into the Nashville and northern Alabama areas that were in the 80s just a couple days ago. Just crazy how the impacts are being felt way down there. So where is it right now? Well, you can see what we have coming together. The main low pressure has not developed yet. That's going to develop down in Texas. It's now rounding the base of the Four Corners region. That area of energy is. It's that area of energy that's going to head up the eastern seaboard. it's going to take the snow we have right now, which is actually associated with a frontal boundary. This isn't really the winter storm snow. This is kind of a frontal boundary snow that's hanging out. It's going to take this snow, it's going to pull it into that system and up the eastern seaboard. And what that will do is send a cold front through us, and that's going to kick off lake effect snow. The model's finally picking up. If you joined us last night, I was thinking we're going to get some lake effect snow from this, especially LaPorte County before it's all said and done. And that would be over the weekend. And the model's now picking up on that a little bit better, especially some of the high res models, which I'll show you here in a second. But this is where the snow is right now. Areas in green, that's the heavier snow. Areas that are kind of in that light shade of blue, that's the lighter snow. And we did have a nice little push here. I posted about it on Region Weather, if you saw that, and on regionweather.com about how that snow would ramp up over about an hour or so. That was during the evening rush hour, and you can see how that's now pushed off towards the east. It's coming down now, but it's pretty light. There's some moderate bursts at times. There's a little moderate burst from Hammond to Gary right now, stretching into the Portage area. But you notice how this snow, if we're searching trend, is kind of pulsy, right? It kind of pulses up. You get some heavier snow, it kind of winds down a little bit. That's how it's going to be for much of the night. You can see this nice little break back towards central Illinois. That will likely get in here. That part's going to miss us, but that part of the storm system is going to get in here probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We've got another good push coming in from central Illinois right now, which will bring some moderate snow to the area later on tonight, probably midnight-ish. And then back towards the west, there's even another push after that. So that's going to keep this snow going for much of the night. I don't see an immediate end to it, but it's going to be much like what it is right now. May ramp up a little bit, and then it'll come back down. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here overnight tonight. Just a reminder, on regionweather.com, this is our website if you haven't been there. We've posted, I think, 23 days and counting in a row right now, and like 47 out of the last 48 days, something like that. So there's an update every day for you on here. If you don't like the Facebook algorithm that shows you certain posts, which that's the whole reason why I did regionweather.com. But if you don't want to have to wait to see when a post shows up in your feed, and you just want to go straight to the source, every single day we post an update here on the weather. And then also the important thing, if you go through the INDOT traffic cams, they're on the website and they're there, but they're tough to navigate. So what we did under region traffic cams, if you haven't been there yet, is I organized them all by region. So here's all the Borman traffic cams. You got I-94, I-65. They're all organized. So you can click on them, takes you right to the INDOT traffic page, and you can see there's where our problems are on I-65 northbound with a wreck. So those are available for any time, and especially during winter weather, that's when they're particularly helpful. Okay, so let's talk about when the snow leaves. Okay, I'm going to blow this up for you if that's okay. That way you can see it a little bit better. That should help. And actually, here we go. I think I can go one more. That should do it. All right, so here we go. This is going through time now. Models have a good handle on the storm. They have since the beginning. You can see how the snow starts to wind down. That's 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. So we may still have some snowflakes flying for that morning rush hour tomorrow. And then as we go through time, tomorrow afternoon, we'll really start to dry things out. It's that break as this low pressure really ramps up down to the south and gets going up the Tennessee Valley. So you can see how as we go through the afternoon tomorrow, the snow starts to move into areas near Memphis. You've got Louisville up towards Cincinnati seeing some snow. For us, though, you notice this little feature that swings through right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor. You can. That's going to be the Arctic front that really sends our temps plummeting. So tomorrow, temperatures aren't going to be all that bad. But later on tomorrow, on into tomorrow night, that's our cold spot. We get this blast of cold air that comes in tomorrow night, will likely send us into the teens. And then Saturday is going to be tough pressed to get into the 20s. I think we'll do it, but it's going to be much, much colder on a strong north wind. So wind chills are going to be below zero. But what that front is going to do is it's going to kick off our lake effect snow. So you see as we go through time, this is now tomorrow night. And notice what happens. System heads off towards the east. This is the main snowstorm here. Remember, we're waiting on it. This isn't the snowstorm that's going to hit the East Coast. This is a part of it. But you can see the lake effect that really gets going. And time frame on this is Saturday morning. You notice how we've got some good banding coming in. I would agree with this because this is a real cold shot of air up above us. And the lakes have gone mainly ice-free, especially Lake Michigan. Lake Erie's even ice-free right now for the most part because of that warm-up we had. So the lake's wide open. So lake effect season is back for the entirety of the Great Lakes. And you notice how some of that banding continues all the way through Saturday around midnight, perhaps Sunday morning and 1 a.m. Where does it look most concentrated? I think LaPorte County over towards South Bend. We are going to have a northerly fetch for a while. Northerly fetches or wind streams tend to come into Porter and Lake County. I don't think it'll be long enough to get heavier snow into Lake and Porter counties. It's going to be more of a northwest flow aloft and at the surface. But again, events like this can surprise you because it is such cold air aloft. The models don't always handle that really well in March, especially mid-March, which we're getting into. So I could foresee some lake effect snow even in Lake and Porter County. This would be Friday night and Saturday. It doesn't look to be too impactful, or else we'd have a winter storm watch out, right? It's not going to be that big of a deal. But if you do have travel plans Friday night, Saturday, and you think we're out of the snow because the system's gone, that's not going to be the case. We are going to have lake effect around, and we could have some tough travel, especially out in LaPorte County and then into southwest lower Michigan. So just be aware of that. In terms of snowfall totals, we're not talking a ton from this, right? I'm still going with our general 1 to 3 that we said yesterday, and that seems to be what the models are doing. I mean, nothing's really changed with that. And again, it doesn't cost much to cause problems, right? So we haven't seen much so far, maybe half an inch to an inch and a half around the region. And we're having all sorts of traffic issues, right? Because people can't drive on that little slick surface. They think they're just fine, and that's not the case. So be careful if you're heading on out. Tomorrow morning's rush hour, I think very similar to what we're dealing with right now outside. There'll be some snow on the road. You'll have your tire tracks. It's not a lot of snow. We can handle it, right? But we just need to be safe and drive careful with this. As that heads out, you notice how the HRRR model, which I believe I have right now, is showing some of those lake effect bands. So we get into areas of LaPorte County, maybe 3 to 4 total, perhaps some 5s coming out of there, depending on the lake effect. So keep that in mind. General 1 to 3 for everybody out of this. That's every single county that's listening to this right now, that's in the region. And then an additional 1 to 3, I think, happens from that lake effect that we get Friday night, Saturday. Last thing I want to show you, I know this is kind of complex looking, but this is the jet stream, right? This is what the planes and the jets fly on, and that's how you make up so much time going from west to east if they get caught up on this. What the jet stream does is the main driver of our weather systems and air masses across the U.S. So you can follow these lines as we go through time. This is, let me see, where am I starting out? This is today, and I want to show you what happens this weekend. So today, there's a nice little jet streak going through the Great Lakes. That's going to help spin up the storm system. There's another chunk that's going down to the south. And as this digs in, notice how the jet really ramps up. When the jet ramps up, you have a lot of air that's exiting and a lot of air has to fill that. So when you see these dark reds, that's often a sign that you're going to have a lot of lift in the atmosphere. And wouldn't you know it, where that strong jet stream is where that heavier snow band lines up as it heads up through Tennessee and up the East Coast into Pennsylvania. So it's very tied together, right, in terms of that. You get a real strong jet stream, you have to replace that air, so a lot of that air comes up. That creates the lift that produces the heavier snow. But the other thing we can tell by looking at the jet stream is we can follow the line, and that tells us where our air mass is coming from. So you notice this is now Saturday morning. If you follow this line, it goes all the way up into northern Canada, literally the North Pole. That's where this air mass is coming from Saturday morning. That's a very cold air mass. It moderates, obviously, as it heads south, but that's why we'll be so cold. There's a big pattern shift next week, so watch what happens. So we go through this weekend, cold, right? Air coming out of Canada. Sunday, this is where air is coming from. It's not Canada anymore. It's more like the West. So we're going to moderate Sunday. We may bounce back near 50 degrees. And then next week, what happens is system dives into the West Coast, and that triggers a pattern change. Watch this. This is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look at how all the jet kind of dives down towards the south in California. What goes down in the west must come up in the east. So our air, if you follow these lines, by Thursday is no longer coming out of the North Pole. It is all of a sudden coming out of Mexico. Mexico is a place where a lot of people spring break this time of year. And why do they do that? Because it's warm, and it's warmer than it is here. And we're going to get some of the air from Mexico later on this week. How about that? And then you can see how a little system develops, actually a pretty decent system, and that really starts to carve that jet stream, and it causes a storm system to develop that'll eventually have maybe some thunderstorms on it later on this week. We'll see how that goes. But in terms of temperatures here, I want to show you what some of these highs are this week, because they're even more impressive than they were yesterday if you like springtime warmth. If not, it's coming. So here we go. Let's go Tuesday. So this is right here. These are Tuesday's highs as projected by the Euro, up near 60, exception being the lakeshore because it is lake breeze season. And whenever you have light winds, remember that cold air out over the lake, it's heavy and dense. It's heavier than the warm air, so it likes to expand. It likes to sink and expand. And we're not going to have a strong wind on Wednesday or Tuesday, so that means that cold air is going to expand. So we'll likely stay in the 40s to near 50 by the lakeshore, 60s elsewhere. And then the warm-up begins. Here's Wednesday. We're now in the mid-60s all the way up towards the lakeshore. Remember, we're getting that strong push in from the south. And then Thursday's a nice one. Look at this. Models projecting widespread upper 60s, low 70s. I would easily say 70s on Thursday this week. So that's going to be really nice. And that's all the way up towards the lakefront as well. And then our bonus day is going to be Friday. We're going to try to squeak out another warm one, perhaps near 70 on Friday, out ahead of that frontal boundary. That'll send our temps back, but I don't see a real cold snap after this weekend in the 10 to 15 day range. So that's some good news as this warm air sticks around. So not too bad, right? We'll take it. We'll take all we can get this time of year, especially when they come in small hits like that. All right, so that's what we're dealing with. I hope we ended you on a positive note here. I'd be happy to answer your questions if you've got them, and then we'll get you on your way on this special Thursday edition of Region Weather Live, dealing with the snow that we have outside, right? So let's see. Tanya asked, how bad is the commute to Chicago tomorrow morning? Tanya, I don't think too bad. It's probably going to be similar to what we have right now, where we do have some snow cover on the roadways. Just take it slow. I'm sure road crews are going to be out working for that morning rush hour. So if you're not leaving too early, I would say, 4 o'clock beyond. I'm never putting my confidence in road crews, but they do work hard. And, I think things will be okay. You might just need to allow some extra time because that snow is going to continue tonight. It's going to be light to moderate most of the night as well. Let's see. Portage Streets and Sanitation says, remind everyone what temps will be on Sunday next week. So Sunday, and that's a good call. Next week, obviously, we're looking at it. In terms of Sunday, we'll likely bounce back to near 50 degrees. So any snow that we get from this is going to be melting pretty quickly. Let's actually look at it. Here's Saturday. Here's the cold that we have. And here's Sunday's projected high temperatures. So you can see we're pushing mid 40s. I would probably go upper 40s to near 50 on Sunday still. We are going to have snowpack, but boy, that March sun is so much different than like a January or February sun. It's much, much warmer for sure. Let's see what else here. Jason, you're welcome. Rhonda's asking about the t-shirts, the important questions, right? So I don't want to put a timeline on this, but we are so close to launching our merchandise brand. It's not just t-shirts. Like I said, I've got all sorts of things over here. I've got magnets. I've got a bunch of t-shirts, a ton of them. I may be going about this the wrong way. We've got little region weather magnets. Aren't they cute? Anyway, all this stuff's going to be live. There's hats coming in, trucker hats as well. Someone asked about that. We're looking into doing water bottles too. We're not going crazy. All right. I get it. I love these t-shirts though. I was so picky in determining like the cotton fabric and all that stuff. So I think you're going to like these, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know when we have them. So good. Vanessa, are we done with the snow after this? Vanessa, I don't think so. I really don't think so. And the reason why is because we have a month called March to get through. And we're not quite there yet. We typically have anywhere from 85 to 90% of our seasonal snow in by now. So we're so close to being done, but we've got to get through that final 10%. We've had snow in April around here. Heck, we've had snow into May before. But April's usually the cutoff where we get maybe 1 or 2 more snows. The one thing I will tell you, Vanessa, is it's really hard to get heavy, real deep snow this time of year. It's just so hard to do that. If it snows during the daytime, it's a much different game this time of year because you still get solar radiation that can melt that snow pretty fast. The pavement temperatures are coming up. So I think we're getting to the point where we're done with the big snow chances. Not yet, but we will be very soon. Tanya says road on 30 is horrible right now. Yeah. There's all sorts of traffic issues right now, Tanya. There's not much snow on the roads, but there's snow on the roads, and that causes problems because it's just so slick outside, and everyone drives like there's not any snow on the road. So just be careful out there. Yeah, this snow's going to continue as well. Kristen says use a t-shirt gun to shoot one this way, Matt. That would be fun if we could do that somehow, and it just pops out of your computer. That'd be great. Tanya, you're welcome. Absolutely. Deborah, good evening to you. Will it be safe to start getting the leaves out of the gardens next week? Deborah, you can get started on that for sure. I'm no gardening expert. I pretend to be one. But I'm telling you, I have to replant flowers and stuff every year in our landscaping just from malpractice. but in terms of getting the leaves out, I would imagine we're going to have another snow on top of this at some point. And you obviously want those leaves down so the snow can give the nutrients to the soil and stuff like that. But it doesn't hurt. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference this time of year, for sure. Tanya says, "What time is the snow supposed to start? I'm very concerned. I travel to Chicago at 5:30." So Tanya, the snow's already going now. This snow's going to continue. So what we've got right now is going to continue overnight tonight. Chicago will start to wind down overnight tonight. So their morning rush hour is likely to be better than Northwest Indiana's because the snow is going to end from west to east. So just keep that in mind. But this snow is going to continue. It's going to end probably tomorrow morning. It'll start to become more patchy towards the end. But tomorrow morning, likely after that rush hour, is when we can kind of say goodbye to it. And remember, we take a break from the snow, and then we'll talk lake effect snow. Not for everyone, but I think we'll see some decent lake effect kick up tomorrow night into Saturday. So we're not quite done with it, right? Teresa, yeah, so I think this answers your question too, Teresa. So the snow was going to continue tonight. We're not done with it yet. We've got a couple more waves to get through here. It's very slow moving for sure. Tanya, I got you. I figured that out once I was answering it. Vanessa's ready for hummingbirds. I'm not sure. We've got a hummingbird feeder. I'm wondering. I could just Google it, but Vanessa, I'd rather ask you. When's a good time to put those out? We also have an Oriole feeder. My wife really wanted an Oriole feeder, and I don't know when we put those out, but we put it out last year, and you have to like change you feed them like grape jelly, and you put orange slices on there. It's like so much work. You're like making breakfast for a bird. I'm like, are you kidding? But it's an Oriole. And my wife would do that every day and no Oriole for like a month and a half. And then on Mother's Day, she went and did it. And I'm not kidding. We had 2 Orioles. It was awesome. And then there's like 4 now. There's 4. And I don't know if they go do their thing, but I hope they'll be back next year for sure. Okay, Mother's Day. That makes sense. Thanks, Becky. Well, that's different. That's a lot different than Vanessa's response at March. Maybe you call them early. I don't know. Let them know there's food out there for sure. Yeah, and Amanda's ready for bees. Yeah, she's our honey producer. I love that, Amanda. Yeah, almost bee season, right? My daughter's excited. She got stung last year. There was a yellow jacket in her shoe, and she put her foot on there. She was 5 at the time. Boy, it was horrific. Her foot swelled up. She's like terrified of those things now. I'm like, honey, they're great for the environment. Bees are. I don't know about wasps, though. I can't figure out the meaning for that. Anyway, I think that's it. We're getting into uncharted territory here, talking about bees and hummingbirds. That doesn't help your weather plans. But anyway, I guess that's it here tonight. So snow continues tonight. Just want you to know that. It's going to continue through the morning rush hour on and off. This is a very manageable storm. But again, we're going to have probably a couple inches before it's all said and done across all of the region. We'll turn to lake effect. That'll be our next thing that we're paying attention to tomorrow night and Saturday. That comes with cold air. That cold air sits around Saturday, and then we'll moderate. And next week, I can't wait to share the forecast with you daily just to talk about how warm it is, okay? All right, Kristen, thanks for the link. I'll check that out for sure. I appreciate that. All right, guys, enjoy your night. Drive safe tomorrow morning if you're out and about. And then after that, hopefully we can say goodbye to the snow, at least for a while here. We've got a nice warm-up next week that will get us closer to the end.